Blessings, beautiful people. Today's episode is Terms and Agreements.
Do all relationships have to have the same rules?
No copying and pasting.
This is the Hear Him Out show, a show we created for men to be heard, where women are welcome to listen.
Yo, we got a barn burner for y'all today. We talk about terms and agreements. Now, we like to think there's this whole societal thing of all dating is the same, all rules apply, but that ain't true. And it just goes by how many people are unhappy, how many people are single, how many people are cheating, all that stuff. So, Shakim, when we talk about terms and agreement, because first time I heard about this was from your ass.
Yeah,
so break that down. What you mean by terms and agreements?
I'm going to preface this by saying y'all need to read the fine print.
Ooh.
Sometimes we start these commitments, whether it's a new app, whether it's a new contract, whatever it is, and at the bottom it says, do you agree with the terms and agreements? And a lot of times y'all just clicking on it, not reading it, and we do that with relationships too. So I say terms and agreements because I think that there are a string of difficult conversations that need to lay out the details as to what this segment of your life is going to consist of, especially if that segment is coalescing with somebody else's life.
Ooh.
So we have a single portion, we got a dating portion, we got a married portion.
Oh, okay. So single. Let me rock with that. Let me take this first. So now for ladies and men, I'm sure it's gonna be a little different, right? It seems like once a woman likes a dude, whether there's a title to it or not, it's like we exclusive. But for a lot of dudes, the terms and agreements it's very simple. And comment if you agree with this. If we're not exclusive in a relationship, then my dating pool is open.
All right,
And that causes a lot of it makes people ask this question, what are we?
Oh,
Where are we going? And I ain't mad at that question. But before you ask that question, for a lot of dudes, I know I move this way. If I'm single and we're not exclusive, we're not in a relationship, then the dating pool is open. It's very simple.
I'm not gonna lie. I was at a wedding one time with my family, and at the time I was dating somebody. It was a long-term relationship. My whole family knew her and everything. And we're at the wedding. She's not there. And the DJ says, all single men to the floor. We're gonna throw the thing that he pulls off of the lady's leg. And for some reason, y'all want to catch it. It's weird. That's weirdly ceremonial, but we'll talk about that later. It's like, we're gonna do the thing with the thing. And I was like, okay, I'm staying at the table because I'm not single in my mind. My grandma was like, boy, you better get out there and get on that floor. I was like, Grandma, I'm with so-and-so. What do you mean? You know her. You like her.
Right.
She was like, I can't stand your generation playing house. If you're not married, you're single.
Oh, hold up. Time out. Hear him out. Repeat that for the people.
Hey, that's the OG.
Repeat that from Mama.
Grandma said, I'm sick of y'all generation playing house.
Ooh.
She said, if you're not married, you're single. And it just planted a little seed in my mind. I said, okay, so what does it mean to really be binded to a person? Ever since then.
Ooh.
So the binding process cannot be assumed. We got to go over details.
Oh, hold up. I love this. It cannot be assumed. All right. Now, fellas, stay with me. Ladies, hear me out on this. I think that's where a lot of people get into trouble when we out here dating. It's because you assume because I'm dealing with you and you're dealing with me that's all you're dealing with, right? So we'll get into the married side because I'm married and stuff. And my wife is like that. She's like, when I'm fixated on a dude, whether it's official or not, I only have the capacity to focus on one.
Respect.
It's like, and that's her way. But for me, it's like until there's a title, that's not what it is. And if you assume, then you make an ass out of yourself. Isn't that how it goes?
Absolutely.
Like you gotta. That's why those terms and agreements when you dating and all that stuff. Like for instance, we talked about on our live ghosting, and my position on ghosting is if you go on one or two dates and it ain't working and you don't hear from that person, I don't think you got ghosted.
Yeah.
I don't think you got ghosted.
They just didn't like you.
For me, you can only be ghosted after several, intimate situations, after several dates, and then if you just shut somebody off, that's ghosting. But a lot of people's like, oh, you stopped talking to me. Well, after the second or third date, I realized you're not going to really be worth my time and what I want to do.
I ain't like you.
Basically.
Your breath stink.
So when we talk about terms and agreements, when it's single, we have to acknowledge and we have to put that shit out there on the table. Hear me out. The way a man approaches the single pool versus how a woman approaches it, it can be similar, but in more cases than not, it is separate. It is different. A woman, oftentimes, she's approaching that like, if I see something, you got all those traits, I'm locked in, I don't need the rest of this. Dudes, until it's official, we gonna roam. We off the leash. That's one of why not?
Yeah. Which I respect, and maybe in the single life, the terms and agreements are necessary for yourself. I remember I had to do that. When I was single. I had to promise myself I was going to be single for a certain amount of time because I'd always been giving myself to other people. And my terms and agreements, which was a string of difficult conversations I had to have with myself. I think difficult conversations can propel society forward because it requires a certain amount of honest internal observation.
Facts.
So with those difficult conversations, even though the terms and agreements mostly today will be spoken of as happening between two people, really doing it to yourself is extremely important. Saying there's certain things that are going to happen, certain things that aren't going to happen. Maybe you're going to travel. Maybe you're going to use a rubber. Maybe you're going to drink a certain amount of water because it's dedication to it. But terms and agreements, seriously, because what you're doing is preparing yourself for whenever you're with somebody. So
if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, let's talk about terms and agreements when dating. Now we know, and as a blanket statement, most of the time, if you're officially dating, intimacy is only with that person.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not discussed, it's cheating.
Yeah.
So when you talk about dating, right? Because you dating, right?
Yeah.
You dating, so
yeah.
not your specific terms and agreements, but from being single to dating, how has that changed your terms and agreements?
Well, one, it forced me to be considerate of others, which is annoying sometimes when you're having fun being single. You have to start taking someone's emotions into consideration. And then there is a weird amount of expectation. An expectation meaning if we're both going into this, I now can't only rely on myself for this to succeed. I'm relying on you to do your part so that this can succeed. So I'm expecting you to hold up your side of this terms and agreements conversation.
Facts.
So that to me is the most important part. And then once you have those conversations, man, even if it doesn't work out with that person, to me, the most beautiful thing is you've developed a tool. Now hear me out.
Hear him out.
Because I try to break it down to the nucleus. Okay. If you meet somebody, maybe instead of assuming they're supposed to be the one, maybe you're assuming that they're going to be the one to aid you in exercising a tool that you will need to use for the one later.
Okay.
So to me, the terms and agreements when dating is us listing the things that we require from somebody right now if we're going to be with somebody, and listing who it is that we are right here, right now. Maybe you're somebody who works out twice a day right now.
Right.
My homie just came to Soundbath yesterday, is an Oakland Raider. His training sessions are from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's a lot of working out. So you got to state that. I don't have time to give you anything for that amount of time in the day. That's a long time. So, a lot of people don't really know. And then for women, I'll tell you that this is the worst thing that I've heard during terms and agreements conversations, brother. The most disgusting thing I've heard
pray tell, bro,
is when we're having a terms and agreement conversation and a woman says in response to one of my questions, I just feel like you should know without me having to say anything.
Oh, hold up. Yo.
I just feel like...
Ladies, let me just go in real quick on that, okay? There is very few things that piss a man off than I think you should know. There's so... First off, you're assuming that I see the world, I look at the world the same thing as you. And I know this is a blanket, generalized ass statement. Men, we're big picture. We look at the entire puzzle. Women, you're so specific. You focus on a piece at a time. So you assume a man's attention to detail is equivalent to yours when it is not. We're not paying attention to the same things. That's not to say we're not paying attention. We're just not paying attention to the same things. So when you point out something, I just feel you should know. No. The 4 agreements. One of the agreements is don't assume, I believe, right?
Yeah, don't assume. That was a good chapter.
Don't assume. That's the whole point of this terms and agreements is we talk this shit out. Like, can I? I'm sorry, I'm going in a little bit.
Please,
I think it's important.
Please, let it out,
ladies, for instance, and fellas, the driven men, the ones who are chasing at them dreams and trying to move up in their business and start their own business and doing whatever you got to do. It takes an extreme amount of time. An extreme amount of focus. And ladies, you are attractive to that dude because oftentimes y'all have this prerequisite. You got to make a certain amount of money. You got to hold a certain amount of titles. You have to carry yourself a certain way. And most men end up being alpha men or leaders who start their own business, who go after their goals and dreams, who are one of the tops in their company. That is a time requirement. Their focus has to be on that. And sometimes women, y'all want a dude to make y'all his priority. The number one priority, as opposed to a priority. You don't want to go for that type of dude. You want the successful life, but you don't understand what dude has to build and what the time commitment is in order to get that shit. So if you want somebody at the top of the hill, understand how hard it is to get there and how hard it is to stay there. So you got to make sure that's what you really want. And that's one of the talks in the terms of agreements.
You got to clarify those things in the terms and agreements, man, because I think a lot of people are infatuated with the prize that we get from these things, but they don't like the character traits that actually brought about the prize. So to me, that's a masterful process. It's being able to state where you are and what it is that you're looking for in life, and still being open enough to receive that which you may not even know that you need and want in your life from this stranger, and then them doing the same thing in an honest, transparent way. And then from there, seeing we've laid everything out on the table, so now let's start harmonizing. Let's see what we got. Instead of assuming and shooting at a target blindly, I don't see why we can't shoot at targets not as clinically as it may sound, but as clearly as
Facts.
as it can be, because I've been accused of being a little too clinical when it comes to these types of things. But I come from a space of martial arts and training, and what I've seen is that repetition does something beautiful. And Jocko Willink talks about this in his book, Discipline is True Freedom. It's this idea that when you do repetition over and over and over and over again, and you do it clearly and concisely, like Black Mamba type repetition, then when it comes time for game time, you can just breathe. You don't have to try. You don't have to overwork. You don't have to try to go seek your shots. You end up in the shot that you shot 200 times. And so I don't see the problem with laying everything out with specificity in the beginning, so that now we can just free flow and really experience a true form of freedom, because true form of freedoms come with awareness. You don't want to fucking guess. And
the guess and stuff. And I'm gonna touch on one fear for I believe for both men and women. Oftentimes, men, we assume, which most of the time is right in my experience, we assume that the woman wants us exclusively, which is oftentimes the case, right? We assume that, and even if we're not in that place in our life, even if we know deep down inside we cannot do that shit, I can't just be physically intimate with a woman our whole life. Sometimes we make that sacrifice, and it ends up being a mistake because we're lying to ourselves. Because we're not talking about the terms and agreements. We're lying to ourselves, saying, "Oh, I can be faithful," and we assuming that's what she wants because we're making that sacrifice. And women, hear me out here. Some of y'all don't talk about these terms and agreements. You go with the flow because you know if you're too honest with him too early,
you might run him away.
But you're going to run the wrong one away, not the right one away. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're the type that's like, yo, I'm into girls, I want an open relationship, shit, bring that up to him.
It's actually a breath of fresh air. Instead of everybody trying to be so perfect with the representative, you know how they talk about the representative in the dating world? Instead of being so perfect like that, really what happens is if I see you are trying to understand something and you're being honest with it in your life and in your action, and you're willing to experiment with that thing with me, man, that makes me more open to say, well, damn, I'm actually kind of into this over here, and I'm into that too, and yeah, maybe you can go do that while I'm doing this, and maybe I don't see what the problem. See, brother, listen, brothers, my dad taught me something, brothers. Listen, this is from an OG right here.
Hear about.
Hear me out. I don't know if this goes for marriage. Just dating, my dad said, son, you've stepped into my world now. When I lost my virginity, he said, son, you stepped into my world now. Now I could teach you a little something about women.
Okay.
He said, son, you got to understand that women are down for everything a man is down for. They just want your permission first.
Oh. Okay.
Maybe leave in the comments, hey, this requires honesty.
Hey.
This requires a level of honesty that I'm willing to go there with y'all.
Be clear.
Listen, the majority of women I've been with have been bisexual.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I think I've only been with one woman who's not into women.
Okay.
So the majority of women that I've experienced have either experienced bisexual experiences or are open to it right now.
That's that spiritual hippie shit. See, I ain't dated enough of the spiritual hippie shit. I dated one chick that was into that. That's because she was a ball player back in the day, and it made me real uncomfortable at the time.
It's because we're all exploring. We're always exploring. We're trying to find the truth. Maybe the truth is in that vagina. We're all trying to find it.
It shall set you free.
It's a beautiful concept to see in a woman's eyes that she is honest with herself about the fact that she hasn't figured it all out yet, and she's still searching, and she trusts you enough to search with you for whatever period of time that y'all are dating for. That's beautiful.
And that's real. And the whole idea with this terms and agreement, y'all, it's being open and transparent, because we're gonna talk about the terms and agreement from a married perspective. You know what I'm saying? I'm married. I'm locked down. It's a wrap, right? And it's a different terms and agreement. You know, but one thing I will say before I get into my personal experience is simple. Before you even think about it, because you brought this up in one of our previous episodes, how one of your boys got into a relationship, and because the lady was older, they had kids sooner, and now they didn't have enough time to enjoy themselves. And it ain't even about him, because he kind of got pressured to have that kid, and so now it's all.
And now, literally, his whole life is just based around working and bringing home bacon. He gets nothing.
That's it, and it's no enjoyment.
That's so tricky.
Before you go down that level, before you go down that road, we got to be honest with ourselves. This copy paste shit doesn't work, especially for marriage, y'all.
Yes.
It is not, I got to do this. No, I've seen marriages, any marriage I've ever seen fail is because you have two people being dishonest in one way or another. It's not just cheating and infidelity. That's like the easy shit. Everybody, oh my God, can't nobody. And as somebody who's been married for nearly 5 years now, the shit goes so much deeper. That's not the shit that like really breaks you up. It's the smaller stuff. When you talk about terms and agreements as far as marriage, you need to have that shit laid out beforehand, but also be flexible enough to have it change over time, because ideally, marriage is a forever fucking process. You're not going to be the same person the whole time. Like, so with me and my lady, we had to get some stuff down. Like, even before we talked about having kids, part of the terms and agreements, we got to have a certain amount of money. We're not going to struggle. Like, we're not going to struggle with this. And then you talk about other people. Like, I work in the industry, not in that industry, okay?
Yeah, chill out.
I ain't in that industry, all right? Although I've been approached several times when I first moved to LA, because apparently damn near every porn star looked like me, bald, black. We gonna go into it, okay? But anyways, but like I'm in the real acting industry, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a leading man type. I'm ladies man. I get to work with some gorgeous, beautiful women. Part of my terms and agreement is I need to let my lady know, I'm going to be doing this. This is what it has in the script. This is who this is. That way that trust can be dependent upon. Because I'm going to be getting intimate in a very, Hollywood type of way with some very attractive women. Now, I got no issues. My lady's down. The woman I dated before, she was uncomfortable with me hugging a chick in a photo shoot. So I was like,
couldn't even do the Hallmark photo
right,
shoot.
Like, we're not going to make it, because for you, your history, you need to be utterly exclusive. My lady's like, I trust you. Just fucking be honest with me. And the one time I kind of hit something and lied on a very dumb level, dudes, hear me out, fellas. They know. They're going to find out. Don't even fucking lie. Just get the truth. Get the little argument over with. I promise you. That's just a little marriage shit right there.
Get the little argument over with.
Just get it out the way. Even if it just, I promise you, it causes less problems down the road if you just get that shit out there. But like the one time I kind of like lied about something, it just opened up a door, and the trust had to be rebuilt upon. So part of the terms and agreements to build a foundation of trust, that's what the terms of agreement is for.
Yes,
it's like,
it is.
Because I know a couple people in open relationships, but open relationship don't mean I'm fucking everything that walks. Open relationship, they have a very specific, it can't be nobody here. It can't be like this. You have to let them know you're in a relationship. It's all these things, and they're happy as hell.
Actually, man, thank you for bringing that up, because the people I've talked to, I know 2 people who are in open marriages, and those 2 people have the most clear and concise rules in a marriage that I've ever heard.
Ooh.
It's clear. It's like literally like documentation. The way they have to vet the people that they bring in, it's like serious stuff. And then what it means to the kids, what it means to bringing people home. It's like stuff you just would never really consider. But if we're going to make it work, then we got to make it work. So I got a quick question, because I like real life stories. When I had an experience with somebody who was arguing with their boyfriend. It was a long debate one night because he had to kiss somebody in the scene the next day. The scene was sprung upon him the night before, and she's arguing, right? So I'm just curious, when you have those conversations with your wife, because you are an actor at any given point, you're going to have to kiss another woman.
I
where do they go?
do
like?
all types of crazy shit, unfortunately.
So where do they go? Like, just for, because I would like for people to know the insides of these conversations. It sounds like maybe just words on a page when we're saying it, but you actually have to live this up.
Yeah, I mean, it's the foundation. The terms and agreement has to be set in the beginning. The problem is, we both assume in relationships, marriage, dating, single, whatever, we assume that we both want something, we want the same thing. And then when it comes to light that we don't want the same thing, then we try to enter into a terms and agreement. It doesn't work then because now you're too far deep. I already had one. I let my lady know from the beginning, yo, I'm an actor. This is what I do. Yo, I got to kiss this. I've had to have my ass on. I'm like, and she knows it's just what it is because I'm so upfront and honest and I keep the boundaries 100. The moment I start doing other shit, that's when it's like, yo, and I can't fuck up because this is my career. So then if I can't be trusted, then I have to deny roles like that. That denies money. That denies forward movement. Now I have to choose. Do you want to be married or do you want to have a career? I don't have to choose that because of the terms and agreements are very laid out. Yeah, I'm not going out to dinner with the women I'm going to be doing that stuff with. I try to keep it very professional and cool. I'm cool, you know what I'm saying? But it ain't no getting connected and outside of that. Yeah. So I think now when I was early, when I was single, of course, like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? When I was doing my little short films and whatnot.
Like you was feeling me when we was doing that scene, though.
But also, you have to pick your partner right, fellas. There is a difference, right? And ladies, hear me out here. He's not gaslighting you if he's being honest and calling out your insecurities. Fellas, sometimes she's not acting crazy or bringing up shit, but you have to acknowledge that might be uncomfortable. So you got to have a woman. My woman is very secure in herself. She's very secure in this. And since day one, I've been on it. Since day one, I've been 100 and had these conversations even when they were uncomfortable. So now, as it gets deeper, it's like, hell yeah. All right, this is what it is. So it starts with the foundation. If you have a foundation that's rocky, if it's not built on trust, that shit doesn't get better over time. And just real quick, I think it has something to do, but it's on my heart. I have to say this, okay? Sorry. It's very important because I heard this shit said the other day. As a father, okay? Camera two, okay? As a father of newborn twins, okay? With a wonderful partnership. Me and my lady, we're best friends. We're not just saying that shit because it's cute. That's like literally my best friend, right? Best female friend. I love you, baby. But I got my boys too. But yeah, it's people have said something. This is in terms and agreements because you talked about your boy who had to have a kid real quick. Never say this shit out loud again. If you do, slap yourself. I think having a kid will bring us closer. Y'all, let me just drop some game real quick.
What a trap.
Just real quick. It's stupid and asinine to think that bringing a kid in a relationship is going to make it work or being closer. Having a kid as somebody who's in love and married and doing it the right way does not bring you closer. It tests you. Having kids doesn't bring you closer. It does not bring you closer in your relationship. It tests the closeness of your relationship.
Oh, shit.
And then over time, hopefully, as you get through the test, you are brought closer. But if I didn't love, if my wife wasn't dope, if we didn't have a friendship, if we didn't have years of a foundation to build upon that's more important than this certain thing, man, my kids are barely a year. We wouldn't have made it. So for people who are not even that connected beforehand with that person, your terms and agreements, ladies, really think about who the hell you having a kid with. Fellas, do not be pressured to jump into I don't care if she's getting older or whatever that is. Do not until you two know this is for real. We want to do this shit the right way. We have a good connection because this shit changes.
Oh, I can imagine.
It changes. Having kids does not bring you closer.
Man.
It tests the closeness of your relationship. It does not bring you closer in your relationship. Now, it will strengthen it over time, which a year later, I'm seeing that. But y'all, everything is going to change. Fellas, you are no longer number one. Almost everything is going to be your fault, even if it ain't. It's just, I'm just letting you right now. It ain't going to be your fault, but it's going to be your fault. You know what I'm saying? But that's just something just with the terms and agreements in a relationship when it comes to marriage. Really think clearly about having kids. It is not easy. It is worth it. I love it. I love being a dad. I love it. But I love it because I got the right partner. And the terms and agreements is really nice and instilled.
Well, I will say that brings me to the segment of the day,
Ooh.
which is brothers, men's mental health tip.
Let's get it.
Men's mental health tip. When you have a solid foundation, you just sleep better at night.
Oh, hold up. Stop that. Say that again. Hold up. That's a bar.
Yeah.
Hear him out.
When you have a solid foundation to rest upon, you can sleep way better at night. So this goes back to me being in the park years ago, and this old man came up to me and my group while we was stretching, and randomly just starts talking to us. And one of the guys from the group just joking, young black dude, just joking with this old white dude.
Yeah.
He was like, "Hey man, what's the secret to life? You seem like a wise old dude." And the guy was like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm happy because I can sleep well at night. I never have to look over my shoulder. And because I never have to look over my shoulder, I sleep well at night. And good sleep is good for a long life."
Ooh.
And ever since then, I was like, okay, what are the things that help me sleep well at night? Well, I realized in my dating experiences, not even just in dating, like just in my development experiences, when I can sleep well with myself, I automatically have more peace of mind, more stability.
Facts.
I have more consistency, more endurance, because I know I'm doing something benevolent, I guess is really what it is. I know whatever I'm up to is benevolent.
That's real.
But when you're not clarifying, when you're copying and pasting, and maybe this part goes for both men and women, when you're copying and pasting, you're anticipating your broken little cyclical psychological structure to be something that it's not. And it is broken, and it's proving with your experiences that it's off. There's something wrong. And so if it's off, copying and pasting it onto the next situation is just going to make the next situation off. Whereas if you set a new foundation that's clear with where you are, it's aligned with where it is that you're going, where it is you're aiming for, it's intentional with this person. Even if it doesn't work out in the end, you can sleep well at night knowing you are honest with yourself, you are honest with her. One time I had this experience, it was only 6 months, and this girl told me at the end, "I feel like we should just be friends. I'm going to go ahead and end this, but it's not anything that you did because you are actually really honest. I just thought I could keep up with where you were, and I can't."
Oh,
so
respect the hell out of that.
So the honest, and we're still cool to this day. So the honesty, everybody else just sleeps well at night, as opposed to copying and pasting, assuming, and then when it breaks off, you have all these questions as to why things went wrong and why this and that. You won't sleep well at night with a bunch of unanswered questions. So
no, that's
Yes.
a bar, man. I ain't got. We just gonna end it on that. That's a good spot. But before we end it, we like to do something here on the Hear 'Em Out show, right? We like to clear the space. We like to leave the physical space in a better place than it was when we got here, and we like to leave you, the viewer, the listener, in a better place than you were when you got to us. So Shakim, how we gonna clear the space today?
Well, whenever we talk about love, I like to bring the flute. It's harmony, it's balance, it's just the perfect symbiotic experience when we're talking about love. Not just dating love, but we self-love, kings.
Yeah.
Ashe.
All right. Yo, thank y'all for vibing with us. We hope you like this episode of Terms and Agreement. Just remember, y'all, every relationship, every person is different. The copy and paste format doesn't work. Do what's best for you. I know it's hard to have these conversations, these important conversations, these courageous conversations, but the shit got to be had, because at the end of the day, we want to be happy. If you want to be monogamous, be happy. If you want to hit everything that walk, if y'all both agree, we happy for you. But with that being said, thank y'all for vibing with us. This has been a Hear 'Em Out show, a place for men to be heard when women are welcome and listen.
And our aim is to speak truth, add value, and offer a perspective that has the opportunity to lead to growth and elevation.
We love y'all. Ashe.
Ashe.
Peace.